It's 7 p.m. Monday, July 28th. This is the Town of Sunderland Select Board meeting. To call this meeting to order. Introduction of board members. I'm Todd Lawrence. We have Bruce Mattson, Marty Nadler. Anthony Thompson's on vacation, so he's not here tonight. And we also have Rick Timmerman. And then our secretary, Caroline Meyer. Sorry. Next order is additions and deletions to the agenda. Does anyone on the board have anything they want to change or add? No? Okay. Number 4 is approval of the minutes from July 14th select board meeting.
So moved.
All right.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion on the approval of the minutes? No? Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes from July 14th, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? No? Okay, those meeting minutes have been approved. Item number 5 is public comment. Any members of the public want to discuss anything today?
Can I just go back to the agenda? Is there an executive session on there?
Yes, I do have an executive session towards the end for discussing town legal items and discussing town highway crew applicants and a potential hiring decision.
Okay.
So yeah, that's item number 14. Yeah.
I just wanted to talk about for 5 seconds the Sunderland Shine, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
So I just want to bring to your attention that I know it wasn't chosen as one of the things to work on, but I just want you, the select board, to recognize that 2 out of the 8 things that were pointed out as things that people are concerned about is bicycle and pedestrian safety and a bike path. So I'm just bringing that to your attention because I'm going to be bugging you again next year.
Perfect. All right. Yeah, Dixie, go ahead.
One comment about the corner down there of Sunderland Hill Road. Seems to be building up rather than cleaning up. I don't know if that's going to be addressed at all.
Is that property-wise?
Yeah, the properties down
Okay.
there. There's a few properties down there that are
Yeah.
that were said to be, were going to be cleaned up and certainly have gone the other way, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah, I heard back from the attorneys this afternoon, so most of it's in progress. Also, I've had a few questions about a person allegedly sleeping in a tent, and one person mentioned a car, which is not anything to do with zoning whatsoever. And if anyone has any actual time, dates, observations they can be specific about, it can be turned over to the health officer for him to investigate with the state, because there is no violation for putting a tent on your property and sleeping in it, but there may be a violation of some health thing, but that will have to be checked with the state. But to even move forward, you need specifics. I drive by there quite frequently, and I've seen him moving things in the yard, mowing the grass, but I've never seen him even consuming anything on the property. And I don't believe he's in the trailer anymore, so. But a lot of the rest of it has been delayed for various reasons, and that's part of the executive session because the attorneys were involved in it later.
Yeah, so it's on the radar.
Okay.
We're working through the channels.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else for public comment? No? Okay. Let's see. Item number 6 is the Municipal Energy Resilience Program grant update. And on Zoom with us is Kelly Clark Harrington, and she's with Centerline Architects and Planners. I'm not sure if Kelly is present yet. Okay.
Hello, I'm here.
Okay. Hi, Kelly.
Hi.
And so you're on Zoom with a handful of people in the room. I don't know if you're ready to maybe give a little update on the project so far?
I believe Jeff was going to
Oh, okay.
give the update.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if Kelly would be on time, but I can give a brief overview and then of where we are, and then Kelly, by all means, probably much more qualified to answer your question.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So, okay, so everyone knows what this is. It's a $206,000 federal state grant we got. And Centerline is doing a great job, and they've spent a lot of time, a lot of effort working on both of our buildings to see how we can make them more energy efficient and save some money, knock down the fossil fuel usage. And I'll take the first one, the easiest one first, Town Hall, as we all know. Kelly and her crew obviously found this to be in good shape, much better than most town halls. Still a few little things that can be done. The first one, as she calls it, the low-hanging fruit, is the thermostats being replaced with programmable thermostats. And we want to find out from Caroline if all of them are already programmable thermostats. I think it was the energy audit that found that maybe they weren't. And I obviously can see one here, but I don't know just how programmable that is. So unless anybody here knows if they were, because that's probably an original, and I don't know if that was part of the plan.
Yeah, I think they're both, from what I remember in the office, they might be the same.
Okay.
Digital, but I don't know about programmable.
Right, okay. I'll check on that. But the other one is very simple. Replace the weather stripping on the rear exit door. I'm assuming obviously that one. I don't know if this one also needs it, but it's something that we could look into because as we get into the town garage, she's saying replacing the doors on both the buildings are marked. Who would do that work? Do we hire out a carpenter, or, because we've got the money?
The regular doors.
Yeah, the two man doors.
I guess we'd probably put it out to bid, would be
Okay,
the best.
okay. So I mentioned that now, even though we're talking about town hall, because those are three low-hanging fruit, just replacing the doors and these two, and getting these two, at least that one, maybe that one, weather stripped. The other projects here at Town Hall, the mini split for heating and cooling of the meeting room. Kelly can talk to it, but I think they said it would be one outdoor unit, one indoor unit. I would imagine up there maybe. Kelly, as she gets more into her work, can give you advice on that. Replacing the existing interior lighting with LED light, that's also low-hanging in the sense that it's just replacing bulbs. Would that be something your guys would do, Mark, or the bulbs are here, or do we put that out?
Yeah, we could.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Obviously, over there it's a lot easier. The biggest one here is the installing what they're suggesting, an 8.5 kilowatt solar system on our site. My knowledge, 8.5 kilowatts is about 24 panels approximately. That would handle town hall and the garage. When I get into it, the garage, they're not recommending it down there for a number of reasons. But up here could be tied into there, and you'd handle it all from up here with an 8.5. The location, Kelly feels that on the ground is best. It's a little bit more expensive, but it has a number of benefits, and I'll let Kelly talk to them. One of them being you don't have to have a structural engineer approve the roof. I'm assuming the roof could handle it, but you have to have that looked at. Number two, if you were ever to have to do work on the roof, you'd have to take all the panels down, or as many as you would to fix wherever needed to be fixed. Again, these are just recommendations, a lot more discussion will go into it. And then the last one for the town hall was the level 2 EV charger. I think we've talked about that. The level 1 is obviously useless, really. But in a level 2, it's a recommendation. If the board felt no, there's no use for that, obviously you'd save that money. I've asked if the solar would handle that, the use of that. I don't know for a fact if it would. I we'd have to make you would have to make a lot of decisions on that. How do you charge for it? Is it free? How long can someone stay there? Do you use credit card? Do you need the pay system in it? Again, there may be not as many reasons to do that as reasons to do it. One reason, I guess, obviously, is that we have no other electric chargers, to my knowledge, EV chargers, I should say, in the whole town, really. I think the closest one, when I looked it up online, was Mac Molding, maybe. I don't even think Hill Farm Inn has one, but, so that was Town Hall. And again, your questions all will be more, I think, better answered by Kelly. Town Garage, first thing, the columns, obviously holding everything up, have rusted bases. And by the way, Todd, I apologize that you got it today. I don't know if you had a chance.
Yeah, I looked through it, yeah.
Yeah, everybody's going to, I guess, Todd, you'll distribute.
I sent it to everyone today.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, so I'm pretty much capsulizing from that. But yeah, the columns with the rusted bases, they've got to be examined. First and foremost, we have to have a structural engineer. Kelly recommended somebody that could do that as soon as possible, before we even go forward with anything at the garage, for potential repairs that might be needed to ensure the longevity of the structure. And I think Mark and his people may have pointed this out to them too. And so that's the first thing I think that Kelly's Centerline is recommending.
Is that a cost that would be covered by the grant?
Yeah, that would be covered by the 206,000. I mentioned that replacing the two man doors with insulated doors, ensuring the proper air sealing around both of those two new doors. Assessing the garage doors, and Mark, they're both brand new now, right? Relatively brand new. I know one is and one's a little bit older, right?
Yeah, it's like I told, I guess it was Kelly I called. It's more the old building that has the gaps in the new doors. Because there's really not a lot holding in front of the building there.
Yeah, right.
It's a
Okay.
good thing the wind comes the other way.
That doesn't help, obviously, so. Okay, and then the other one was executing a follow-up blower door test with infrared scanning during the heating season, so that could be late October, November. Try to get it done as soon as possible, but within the heating system. Because she's thinking those two man doors, and if there was any sealing that could be done around the overhead doors, could reduce the leakage a good deal. And before they recommend further, they want to see just how much does this low-hanging fruit type of work impact the leaking. Kelly will talk a little bit about just how much leaking is there. The way I understood it, the way she explained it to us, was that it's 3 times the very leaky classification. I think it's not too much of new knowledge for any of us, but it's pretty much off the chart how much is leaking out. Just to give you a little background on that too, when Susan was here, she gave me some of the bills. I looked back at the old municipal plan, the energy section, and back for 2017, 2018, we, down there, according to their stats, it was 509 gallons. We're up to about 1,700 gallons now. Whereas the cost may not have gone up because maybe the cost of propane might have come down. But they're saying, I don't know if you knew that, or do you agree with that?
We don't get the slip. Come straight to.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and she gave them to us now that we're using Door, and then, I can't remember the name of the other one before that. But yeah, it showed specifically between the two buildings of about 2,600, of which 1,700 or 1,800, close to 18, was the town garage. So, and Kelly can give you the specifics. And I think in one of the things I sent to Todd, it showed a pie chart of just how bad that's leaking. So again, 3 times the worst classification, and that's that. Not to say anything about it, because I would imagine it's probably most garages in the state, probably. So we all know what we're dealing with our garage too. So after that infrared scanning, then they'll refine their recommendations for additional projects, which could include, obviously, additional insulation, the ceilings, the walls. I wasn't positive if, and Kelly can talk about it, if the foundation was included or how that can even be done, if it is needed. But the general term, a major seal up. And then the last thing was install a ducted air heat pump system to supplement the current system. It would be that it would, in their view, take over the majority of the load on the infrared tube going down the middle there. But that could still be used, obviously, as a backup. So I think that's about it, because you've got most of the other stuff, or all of the other stuff. One thing that I would also mention, and I'll tie this in, I maybe should have said it at public comment, but if you decided that we were going to go with ground-based solar panels, obviously the question again comes up, where would they go? Is it like wetlands? Are there plant species that have to be guarded? Kelly has sent me something from 2013. I don't know if you can see it, but it shows the wetlands as of then. This is right behind Town Hall, and it's over the, I think, the well. This is definitely wetlands, which would be the eastern end. So I don't know if you can see that. This is Sunderland Hill Road. This here is not wetlands. But I have heard, I think Susan or Caroline may have mentioned that plant species might be over there that have to be guarded. I don't know what that is. But so I mentioned that because I think I mentioned to the select board, it's almost a year ago, July 17th, Dubois and King, who is affiliated also as a contractor with Centerline, and as you all may know, did a lot building this building. I went to them back in July of last year, and they said that they could do an updated wetlands delineation study and determine if there is a presence of any RTE plant species. RTE is rare, threatened, or endangered, for $1,500. I think that's money well spent. I originally came thinking that we might get it from the ARPA special fund money. You could determine if you agree to it that, you know, where that could come from. And I do have to, before I say 1,500 is solid, I'd have to check with them because it was a year ago. And I guess then we'd know definitively and have certification for any building that would ever happen here. If we were to do something, you know, with that land through the Sunderland Shines recommendation, whatever, we'd have that. So if you want, I'll just make sure this is 1,500. I'll ask them if the wording has changed, and I'll submit it to the board so you can look it over to decide if you want to go ahead with it. Because unless somebody here knows specifically that, no, you can, or yes, you can't, or yes, you can build, we'd want to know that specific to the solar panels if it was decided that they'd be on the ground as opposed to the roof. So I just again wanted to throw that out. So
Can I ask Dave a question?
yeah,
Dave, do you have to have is there anything about putting solar panels on the land?
We do have some solar restrictions, but we could work on getting those here. You can have the ground-mounted ones. It would just depend on the setbacks, and this is all municipal land, so it probably would not be much of an issue here.
Okay.
And there's for the wetlands portion too, there's, I think, I was looking at on the, was it Department of Environment, whatever, and there is a little bit looser restrictions too around class 2 wetlands and solar panels. Like, it's not you can't build there, it's more workarounds and stuff like that. Do you know if, since I know the context of the survey was for something different when we first discussed it, but since it's now a possibility under this energy project, can that get lumped into this grant?
I think it could.
Because I mean, as much as possible, if we're going to do stuff, I'd rather keep as much as possible in the grant.
Yeah, I checked with Callie Fishburne on it. I
Okay.
can do that, but
Yeah.
I don't know for sure.
Okay.
Personally, I don't think there's a problem. I don't know if the rest of the committee has heard any or thought of anything about that, because, you know, consultant fees, if it was to go on the roof for the roofing for the columns, that are going to have have to be looked at down at the garage. That's obviously all under it. Don't see why this couldn't be, but I'll check with Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly, do you have anything more to say, and then maybe entertain questions? Or?
Yeah, I'd like to just kind of emphasize the sequence that we're talking about here, because I think that that's really important. So for the town hall, what we've called the low-hanging fruits, these are things that are gonna cost like a couple $100s, and we know they're gonna save a lot of electricity, so they're just really easy just to decide to do. The other 4 potential projects at town hall, the idea is that you guys are kind of saying like, hey, we're interested in pursuing all these things, and the very next step would be to get a cost estimate so that you can then make a more educated decision. Hey, this is something that we would like to go forward with, or we don't think that that's the priority for our money. So that's the kind of the sequence for the town hall. For the garage, the blower door test number is somewhat baffling, and it's really hard for us to understand where such a high volume of air is escaping, and that's why I think it's really important to do the blower door test with infrared scanning. I don't know if you guys have ever seen this picture, but basically you'll see red hot zones where all the air is escaping from your building, and by doing that we can make sure that when we make recommendations for insulation, that we're putting it actually where it's gonna have a big impact. That's really why we would do that part. And there's a few things we already know are leaking air. The man doors and the garage doors, around the doors themselves, the doors are new, but it's the area around the doors. So if we take care of those things, then we can get a better idea of where the next place to focus energy on should be. So I just wanted to make sure that context was understood. If we get the blower door test with infrared scan, then we can give a much more tailored recommendation for the best way to insulate the building to save more energy. And we will need that information to properly size any new heating systems we decide to put in there. We don't want to size them for the current situation because they will be way, way too big if we were to fix some of these problems. So I hope that just helps understanding a little bit more of the recommended sequence of things.
Yeah, I think as a starting point, I think it's pretty clear the steps that need to be taken. Does anyone have any questions or comments on the presentation so far?
I mean, it all makes sense. It just, the decision is going to be by the Energy Committee or by the Select Board?
It's a collaborative, right? I mean, I think money-wise, I think the final decision, and correct me if I'm wrong, the final decision I think is the Select Board just because of the money. But I think we're working together on the common goals, right?
Yeah, and again, we're taking a lot right from the engineers ourselves.
Yeah.
But, it would make for good discussion as to, just like the EV charge or something like that. Probably figure that out quickly, but yeah, the major stuff then would be getting the structure, the engineer to look at the rust.
Yeah.
And getting the doors replaced and that's about it. That was it. Right.
Weather stripping around like.
The weather stripping
Yeah.
on possibly these 2 doors. Yeah, and obviously, anything here with the lights or the thermostat, that's pretty minor. But,
Yeah.
I envision maybe a checklist in order of what needs to be done and then get moving on it.
Yeah.
And putting out to bid what has to be. I mean, Kelly, you had an engineer, right, that, was it Tony Savillo or somebody?
To look at the columns?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm hoping that John Novelli
I'm
will
sorry.
Yeah, John did.
squeeze it into his schedule to take a look. He helps us with things like that a lot.
Okay. And
And the idea, I think, is you want to make sure that, one, that it's safe now, but also that we can stop the damage that's currently occurring.
yeah, I agree, because I mean, it's an unknown status of the structure, so everything kind of hinges on, is the structure even viable, is it, Does it make sense to add all the insulation if it's not, so. I guess the one question I have moving forward, I think I like the idea for, it would help us on the board too, is the checklist item of stuff that we would have to approve or discuss and work through that. I think that would help us. And then, and I think too, in terms of the project management, is Centerline going to be handling all the RFPs or is BCRC, or I think that was kind of
Yeah, I think
the
that's part
intention in the
of
beginning.
Centerline.
Okay.
Right, Kelly, you would be able to make recommendations and put out the bid or anything like that? Would you do that for something as small, quote unquote, for this, as this, or?
Yeah, so, we can, and, I just wanna make sure everyone knows what our current proposal is, designed to help with the decision-making process of which things to go forward with. And then once you've decided, which projects you wanna tackle, and specifically which ones are gonna require more support, then we're happy to help with those. But for example, like putting weather stripping on your door, you don't need our help with that. There's no reason for us to, spend time writing something up. Any good carpenter's gonna know how to do that. So that's part of, we just wanna make sure that we're focusing on the things that really need technical expertise and not, waste your money on designing things that don't need our technical expertise.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
I have a question. Was window dressers, inserts considered for this building? These windows would be perfect, for that. And I know in my new home, the inserts have saved me money, and I have a super insulated house, and they still helped reduce my heat loss, so. And these windows would be perfect for that.
Yeah. Jeff, is there a plan or have they done a structural analysis of the garage to determine whether or not it's worth putting all the money into it?
Well, I think that's what they're trying to determine now with the columns and the rust, the amount of rust there.
That's what we need, we need
Yeah,
a
that's the
structural
first,
analysis.
that should be the first step,
Right.
is taking care of that.
It's not only the columns, but, the outside walls and, the insulation and, and the structural integrity of the walls and the roof.
Yeah, we talked to Kelly about it. Kelly, maybe you can share, because we were talking about insulation, of the roof, of the walls, where it would be, is it possible? Can you address that, Kelly, please?
Yeah, so once we know what would be required to improve the garage, we will get a cost estimate of that work, and then that will give you the number to say, hey, what would a new garage cost? Like, do we have somewhere to put it, is the first question, or would you be putting it on the same site? But once we understand what it takes to fix it up, you can compare that cost to the cost of a new garage and see what is the best use of your money.
Right. And like you said, the infrared blower door, that will determine where the air is going and
Right.
what needs to be repaired.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
But the MERP money couldn't be used for a new garage.
No.
No, it can only be used to improve it.
Yeah.
Right.
Energy efficiency of
Right.
existing.
So, for the board, when do you guys need to start making decisions?
As soon as possible. I'll get you a checklist.
I guess we kind of have, Kelly kind of
Okay.
corrected me. We kind of have the checklist, right?
Okay.
With the ones and twos and.
Yeah, and in terms of pecking order,
Yeah.
I think, the engineer for the structural study of the columns, the doors, if you go down, I guess you could put that out to bid, the weather sealing, the LED lights, the thermostat.
Just something on our procurement policy doesn't require us to go out to bid with such a small amount. I don't think any of this,
No.
even the solar, if we went to solar, just really requires probably 3 written quotes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, is that something that the Energy Committee should look into? I'm going to address this building first. Obviously the thermostats are no big deal on the lights, but as far as the mini split, having getting quotes for mini splitting here. I mean, I don't think we need an engineer, I think.
We actually got them too, a couple of years ago. I mean, we could just revisit that. They were like
So we need 3 quotes on that,
Okay.
and then I'm sure we can get 3 solar companies to,
Mhm.
but the first question that really needs to be addressed for the solar is, what is a viable location?
Right.
What can we put out there? You know, a wetland study is really what we
Yeah.
need, you know, and that's gonna answer a lot of questions for a lot of things.
I think
Yeah, yeah.
the thing with the solar though, I think, is that we just have to be careful, because that is, I mean, that's the main focal point of a lot of it, but in terms of for the grant itself, solar was at the very bottom of the funding priority. So I think it was like item 5 out of, so other than the weather stripping and the insulation, so I just don't want to jump the gun with the solar when that's, in terms of the grant itself, is the lowest funding priority. I don't want to get us, tied up with that.
Yeah, the other thing that I think we should be sure of is that, besides the columns, but we need to make a decision about the structural integrity of the garage, before we start talking about, insulating it or replacing the big doors. I mean, you're going to spend thousands of dollars to insulate it and replace the doors, and we don't know. I think we need to determine whether the integrity is such that it's worth spending any of that money on, or just investing it in a new building.
Investing other money,
Yeah.
Yeah, well, definitely, I mean,
So Kelly, is there a structural integrity study that's being planned?
I don't think it would be so formal as a study. Really, the only issue we're concerned about is the rusting at the base. So I just would like to get a structural engineer to look at it. I don't think it's very involved.
Yeah.
More.
So is there anything, would today be a day to vote on like the basic stuff, you think? Or should we wait until another meeting, or in terms of getting like the structural, at least approving them to move forward with that, or,
I have a question.
yeah?
Because you've been there for years, has the water run down the sides? Do you think the insulation on the side of the building has been wet and not really much there?
Well, it comes down the walls somewhere, runs onto the floor,
Yeah,
without taking all the insulation down.
so how do we know we don't have issues higher up with rust than just the base?
What's that?
How do we know we don't have rust problems higher up on the columns than just the base?
As far as the superstructure, I mean, basically you got the front arches, then there's only 2 in the middle.
So yeah, like,
Anything rusted would be, like floor level. I
yeah,
mean, and, all you do is cut it off and have somebody weld in a new piece if it needed it. May just need cleaning up and painting, depending on where you are in the building.
yeah.
But because we don't have drains,
Yeah, Bruce, I think you're talking about
It's all
the
solid
other
water.
sheeting, the sheet metal sidings.
Well, you, years ago, you cut some of the outside panels and put blocks.
right, they're 4 cement block high. And, I mean, it's just cement block, it's not insulated in any way for that, what are they, 10 inch?
I think so, yeah.
So there's, I think it was 4 of them high.
I was just wondering if there needs to be more study than just the base, is all.
well, Kelly did a tour for, I don't know, a couple hours or whatever.
We were there.
Okay, last month or whatever, or May. And Kelly, other than the columns, did your inspection turn up other things, the roof, the siding, whatever, that says?
That was not necessarily what we were there to look at. So no, we only looked at what was visible from eye level. If you wanted to do kind of a more extensive assessment of the condition of the building, that we would want to start to look at potentially taking off some finishes in a few locations to see what is inside the walls. For example, In terms of the major structure, we do have visibility of that on the inside of the building, so I don't think that the arches themselves don't appear to be rusted anywhere else, but that doesn't mean that there's not framing on the inside of the wall that has damage.
What's that?
So you could do that if you want, but it's, it would be an additional kind of project.
Anybody know the age of that garage?
73, wasn't it? Was 73? 73, 1973.
I think the property records are
52 years.
So if you're 50 years old, 47 years?
Yeah, 50.
It's older than me. Okay.
I would suggest that we get a list of what you consider the low-hanging fruit projects, some sense of what they cost, and we just do an omnibus approval. Can we get that in 2 weeks for the next board meeting?
Get in a couple days, sure.
Okay.
That makes sense?
I'll email it to you, Tom.
Okay, yeah, I won't be here for the next meeting, but I'll review it, and I trust the guidance of the individuals here, so, yeah, that's fine, that works for me. Are you guys good for that?
Yeah, I just want to let you know that, according to Google, the life expectancy of metal buildings is, on the low end is 50 years.
Oh, okay.
So we might be approaching the end of the life of that building.
Right. Probably 15 years before we build a new one, like, took Shaftesbury that long.
Yeah, so then that just plays into which things we can make, financially make sense to do it, and then,
How much do you pour into it?
yeah,
Well, and it's not taxpayer money per se.
yeah. Mark can only keep it a little bit colder before stuff freezes, right, in there?
Yeah,
I think you're at like 35 degrees in the winter.
it's not real bad.
No. So maybe we'll just buy you coats, new coats or something.
You're not building fires in 50-gallon drums, are you?
In the garage.
Okay, so yeah, I think that's a good idea, and then if you can get those costs, like Marty was asking, and at least now the guys will have stuff to vote on, and you good with that, Rick? Okay. Any questions? Yeah, Dixie?
I just want to make a comment on the solar.
Yeah,
It may be the lowest priority, but it has the highest potential of savings for the
Yeah.
town.
yeah,
Just even though they put it at number 5.
And I'll check with
Yeah.
Callie on specifically how that impacts, when the money is start to be spent. Is it more of a, you've got to get these things done first? It may well be.
Yeah.
And then if you've got money left over, you do solar.
yeah, because I think
Just nail that down.
the intention, I think from reading the grant, was that they didn't want the towns just to go and do solar and not address all the underlying issues. So I think that's why they put it down towards the bottom. And I think as long as we're addressing some of the issues, then I think we're okay.
Right.
But I just don't want to get too caught up with, the attractive solar part.
Right.
And then not at least
The important.
check the
things.
boxes for the insulations and weather stripping and stuff, so.
I think so.
We have a congruence of issues with what's coming down from, the Sunderland Shines, where they're talking about recreation, and bike path and so on and so forth, and, recreation, and the discussion that we've had in the past about using this property, for recreational purposes. So I'm wondering if it would make sense to facilitate that environmental study, which would address not only the Sunderland Shines concerns, whether or not we could use this land for anything, and also the solar issue. And if we can get that done, then that will provide us with direction as to, what we can do and what we can't do on this property.
Yeah, I agree. I'll talk with my contact at Dubois and King tomorrow.
And did you send that
Well,
that map to
it's, the map, I can get the map to you too. But,
Okay.
yeah. The proposal itself from last year.
It does show wetlands and
Yeah.
Yeah.
questionable, and then
It's not really wetlands in this, and it's rare plants, it's special.
It could be, yeah.
It's the vegetation here that there was some concern that it shouldn't be cut, and it should be protected, but we mow it every year. So I don't know what we're doing about protecting it.
Yeah. And I think Kelly said even with
Never had the
wetlands.
shrubs, the shrubs have always been there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the ones they were talking about.
Yeah, so, okay, yeah, I mean, and that's something we can look into with the surveys, and, yeah, if that survey can be covered by the grant,
Right.
because it is tied in with any kind of site prep, I
Right.
think, that's a pretty good expense, and that way we can, we all benefit from that. Okay,
I'll get all of it to you.
yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. Anything
Yeah.
else before we move on to, I guess, if Jeff wants to, he can have an energy committee update too, it's on the agenda.
I can do
And
that.
then Kelly, yeah, thank you very much, Kelly.
Oh, you're welcome. Feel free to pass on any more questions.
Okay, appreciate it.
Real quick, the other thing, the MERP mini grant, as you may remember, they gave us $4,000 a couple of years ago. We had a forum that we used $1,000 of that. We may do some website improvement work. Todd and I have talked a little bit about it. That's on hold for now, but I don't know if that would take up the other 3,000. We may, would like to do another forum. A big part of the committee is community outreach and education, so we'll get back to you more on that. But that 3,000 remaining, and also the full 206 or whatever's remaining of the big grant, that all has to be spent by December 31st of next year. Just so you know the number of the date we're looking at, and that's not decided on or allotted, it's spent. This is the way it's explained. The Energy Committee also discussed, as Dixie had alluded to, the window dressers. You all know what that is. I think it's again being held in Arlington at the American Legion. The committee's got about 250 inserts ordered already, but if anyone else needs anything, please, you could contact me. A lot of what we give out, and that was something I was going to talk to you about, Todd, the $500 that was agreed upon at town meeting, that it could be used now. Because a lot of what we do is we give these away, give the inserts away to the, it's a nonprofit, so it's the lowest income people that can get these free. They usually go about $50, $60 each, so. So that's moving along good. Again, it's in October, the beginning of October this year. The last thing that I had, I think, was two things real quick. Sunderland Municipal Plan update. Thought I did get in touch with Rob Zief about working with him and the gentleman from DCRC. So the Energy Committee, if you've, I'm sure you've looked at the plan, it's like by far the biggest section of that is all energy related. So we're, as a committee, eager to help in any way we can with that. So we'll be working with Rob on that. The last thing was the Fuel Club. I've talked about it. I apologize. I didn't do a whole lot about it. Dixie's going to help with that. It's a co-op based in New Hampshire. I don't know if anyone, were you a member too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a member. It'd be $100, and it on average, at least with my residential, knocks off about 25–30% of the cost of propane.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you have to use, I think there's two, suburban and urban,
Okay.
that work in Sunderland. So Dixie was going to contact them to present it to the board if you'd like us to do that. So
What's the name of that car?
yeah, interestingly enough, the Fuel Club. Yeah.
the Fuel Club.
Yeah, based in New Hampshire. They've been around like 30 years or so.
So there's another one actually in Vermont,
Okay.
Hilltop Energy Buyers Group, and they service this area. So I think for a resident, it was like $50 to become a member, and I think Irving was on it for propane and oil. And there's a couple others as well, so
You know, discounts they gave?
I'm not gonna get into that because it depends on how
Yeah.
much and
How much
everything
you
else.
buy.
But the guy's very, very good, but it's $50 to join it, so.
Yeah, that's what I think we're paying now. Right?
Yes, $50.
So 50 for the Fuel Club. So yeah, we'll check into that one.
What's the name of that?
Hilltop?
Called Hilltop Energy Buyers Group. They're up in Underhill, Vermont, but they cover this whole area.
And that's it for me. I don't know if anyone else.
Is that all, Jeff?
Yeah, come on. Okay. That's it.
Good, Jeff.
Thank you, guys.
Any questions for the very active energy committee? Okay. Yeah, appreciate it, and yeah, we'll chat on the email. You can get me the whatever documents.
Sure.
Okay, appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for all your efforts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just want to be on record thanking the group too. They do put in a lot of work and we do a lot of good things. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Okay,
Can I make one other comment before I?
Yes.
If I have it.
Yes.
All
Hold
right.
on.
I would be willing to help install the last two signs on
Okay.
7A if we can figure out where they're gonna go. I know that I helped,
Rob's working on
he's working on
it, to make sure we put them
in the right.
where we can.
Yeah. If
okay,
you need help, I'd
Yeah,
be more than happy to help.
I figured you would.
perfect, yeah. Appreciate it.
As somebody can read the tape measure.
Okay, next item up is item number 8. We got, yeah, that's item number 8. Highway liaison update. I have Bruce on here.
Yep, so I haven't been around, so Rick and Anthony have been doing the interviews, and I haven't really talked to Mark, so I guess if Rick wants to touch base on interviews, then Mark can do the highway.
Just
Yeah, we received, I believe, 4 applicants for the highway crew
Okay.
position. After reviewing their applications, we have interviewed 2 of the individuals.
okay.
Anthony and I interviewed both of them, and then Anthony and I have met with Mark and kind of discussed it, so I think we're going to be discussing it later under executive
Yeah.
session.
Okay.
We have some options.
Okay, perfect. And then, yeah, Mark, do you have anything, what you guys are doing in the garage?
Now the North Road's finally more or less done.
Yeah.
We got the paint
Paint.
this weekend. We still got 2 aprons to get,
Okay,
and they're working on it
okay,
to come back to do those. Yeah, they've got all the paint in town. The only paint that's not done is what the state does. And,
yeah,
you know, they show up when they show up,
okay,
but they should be along shortly,
okay, yeah,
because I've seen them in other towns on class 2.
yeah,
Yeah, other than that, we've been doing some mowing, and we did open up the end of Maggie's Run, and then we took that dead thing down by Bacon Hollow that was
Yeah.
hanging over the road.
yeah,
And that list just never gets shorter. We'll whittle away at it.
okay, yeah, looks good. North Road looks good. And you guys moved the speed sign I saw onto North
Yeah.
Road?
Over on North Road.
Okay, perfect.
Good, the sheriffs appreciate, the sheriffs were a little, not upset, but they're like, because we repaved the road, they're like, speed has increased on North.
Yeah.
It's always, yeah,
So if we can provide them with some data, that'd be great.
It's always a downside to progress.
yeah,
I have a question.
yeah.
Could you, the signs for the bridge, the circle with a,
I don't have them ordered yet.
no? Then do you think the low bridge should also be white by the yellow?
If you want a white one where it says Low Bridge,
Yeah.
we can do it white.
Somebody said that they thought the white might show too. I don't know if it would be, if we put them both down, it would help or not, but I have quite a few trucks still turning around in my yard.
That's good. They're turning around.
The big ones.
We're not taking trees down.
Yes.
Okay, anything else for highway? Nope. Okay, next up, item number 9, zoning administrator update.
Didn't know it was this far up. Done a lot of permits recently. Most of the SDRs are done. We had a few kind of problematic ones, too many occupants, too many bedrooms. They've all been resolved. They've all changed to comply with the permits as the ordinance states. I only have 2 known STRs that haven't registered, they both received warning letters. One actually had a fire response to the house, which I'm trying to get the fire department's report, because it has to be addressed. It was not actually a fire, it was an oil problem, but as I understand it, but still, that's one of the reasons why we got into this ordinance in the first place. I'm meeting with the state fire marshals this week. They have reached out to offer to do inspections of our STRs. And I think that would be a marvelous thing for them to do. The fee would be paid by the owners of the STRs, and they would get a state inspection as a commercial business, which they are. And they would make sure that we have a way of showing that our requirements are being met. And as you get into some of the requirements in the fire code, well, you can get the professional to come in and look at. So I'll let you know the outcome of that, but they reached out because they hadn't been doing these before, so I think it'd just be great if we could, what we would do is amend the ordinance to require, whether they do it annually or biannually, an inspection and the certification of approval from the state be submitted before you get your permit from us. And, I think that would, go a long way to the total enforcement of the ordinance and also protecting the town, the firemen who may have to respond to one of these places, that things are being done properly. Because we had a few that were over 9 and approaching 15 and 16 occupants, and you need a hardwired pole system like the box on the wall for those. And of course, they don't have those, so they've all reduced. Everyone I've spoken to has reduced down to the 8 maximum. I pointed out to one applicant that they are advertising as a 5-bedroom, but the wastewater permit is only for 3 bedrooms, so they need to trim back quite a bit. But everyone's been cooperative. One gentleman, I'm still waiting for him to come in. Like I said, I kind of sent him a second notice, we've been quite patient. We even gave a 6-month buffer period from when it was passed, so everybody could get their shop in order, so it's just time to get it done.
How many are actually in the town now?
Well, when we first did,
Or have permits?
yeah, this is a continual thing too, because when we first surveyed, we were closer to 30, and I have 16 permitted ones, and 2 that I believe are operating and waiting to hear back on. Which doesn't mean there aren't others out there. It's going to be a continual search of the databases to see what pops up, because, a lot of ours, I have owners in Texas, Maryland, Manhattan, they're kind of all over the place. And then there's local owners too. But, everyone's, like I said, been compliant so far, and it's gonna have to be a constant checking of Verbo and some other sites I heard about today that I wasn't aware of. We'll just have to keep an eye on who's doing what, but, like I said, the cooperation has been good so far, even amongst the ones that were way out of bounds from the ordinance. It is pretty straightforward, and like I said, as we developed it, all we looked to do was preserve the rural residential neighborhoods. We're not really infringing on anything. We've kind of bent over backwards to allow commercial businesses in residential zones. So I think it's worked out pretty well. Otherwise, so we have a variety of permits out there. A lot of new homes. We're actually one of the leaders in new homes, unbelievably. The Census Department marvels every month that I keep sending them new home permits. They don't understand how a little town like this can be doing that, but we are putting a lot in. We're getting a lot of rebuilding right now. We're over 50 different permits and things this year, which is kind of a lot for us. So, but things are kind of moving along that. We have the other things coming up with the PC, with the planning, with the new town plan. Most of that will be directed to, doing zoning changes for multi-use for like the Orbis building down here at the Baskerville area. Baskerville, the old Baskerville building, which I think everybody knows what that is, they had put in to build a storage place down there, which is an approved use in that area, and they did have to file for a letter of map adjustment with FEMA to move the designated floodplain back a little bit. I believe they are going to get that, and when they do get that, they'll apply, and otherwise it will be approved for that with after a hearing with the PC. Trouts Unlimited is also doing some work in the river. When they're approved by the Army Corps and the state for a permit, they want to build some trout habitat, I don't know what they call it, like to grow some trout out there. Not a fish guy, so I don't know. Whatever produces fish is what they want to do. That's about it, really, yeah.
Okay. Any questions on zoning? When you said the leaders in like new homes, is this for like Bennington County? Is it for Southern Vermont?
I deal with this office in Albany.
Okay.
It goes like, you have another one? You have another one?
Yeah.
I'm like, you're really ahead, I guess, on average or statistically, for our size, we produce a lot of single-family homes.
Yeah. At the first Sunderland Shines event, I was talking to Ted Brady with VLCT,
Yeah.
and he mentioned that Sunderland's unique, especially in Vermont, because we are one of the handful of towns that actually is growing.
Yeah,
That most towns in Vermont are shrinking, and Sunderland is growing. We've never actually had more people than we have now.
Yeah.
So he says that you're an outlier
yeah.
of
I think I have
everything. So
8 single-family homes in process right now, and 2 on my desk where I'm talking to the builders.
yeah,
So,
so something's right with Sunderland.
yeah.
So we'll keep the elementary school.
Don't get me going.
Well, extend it like that.
That's right.
Okay, perfect. So for the zoning part, and then you want to roll into item number 10, which is I have the FEMA flood insurance rate map and flood insurance study packet that we got sent in the email.
Yes, that's quite a product.
Yeah.
I haven't completely gone through it, the FEMA will, they do these firm maps, which are what the insurance is based on and everything, and they've done some adjustments to our maps. Todd and I both got the copies of them, and there's a lot to go through, I haven't gotten through them yet, but they will be here, FEMA will be here at some point to have a meeting with a group of, part of the board, myself and whoever. We have no idea when they'll want to schedule that or whatever, but there won't be any real dramatic, in a very quick amount of time I looked at it. There doesn't appear to be any real dramatic change to Sunderland itself. The Loma for the basketball couldn't possibly be in it because it takes so long for that to get going. And they only put that in like 3 months ago, so. And that's a minor adjustment too, that's only pushing the floodplain back 50 yards, which, you know, is pretty negligible in that area. But yeah, the rest of it, we'll have to go through it, and then when we hear back from them, we can talk about a date to set up and time. We said, I don't know where they're gonna be coming from, so they may not wanna be coming around to all these night meetings in the county. They may have one centralized, because it's countywide. They might wanna have one meeting for everybody in the county, and just say, come on down, we'll be in Bennington this day. You know, it's hard to say at this point.
Okay. That works, yeah, because I wasn't sure with the, like I mentioned, that
Yeah.
packet, was, you know, it's just 100 and something pages of
Yeah.
engineering drawings,
Maps and
so.
engineering drawings and flood levels and, you know, hydrology studies.
Yeah.
And it's like, you better come to explain this to me.
Yes, we're paying for it.
We're paying for it,
taxpayers,
so, you know, come explain it. And they, like I said, it doesn't seem very much.
I don't know if it went to the whole board, I can send it to actually it went to the select board email. It was a packet of 3, it's kind of, to me, the way they sent it out was kind of,
When was that sent, Brad?
it was sent on July 15th, and it came from a lady named Sonia from CDM Smith Company, and it was like a cluster of 3 emails, because they break it up into like your username, your password, and then like the link address. Yeah, so yeah, I went to the select board,
Can
zoning.
you send it out again?
Yeah, I can, yeah. If you want to take a look at it. I scrolled through, but like David was saying, it's a lot of engineering stuff, but it's good to see though, because it shows all the streams through town, and then they propose like 100-year, 1,000-year, whatever floods and stuff, so, yeah. But it wasn't too user-friendly, but yeah, okay, that works. Any questions on that? No? Okay. Moving on then, if we're good with the FEMA maps. Item number 11 is old business. Just to close out a couple items. I have AED arrival and training. So for those that weren't aware, we've been trying to acquire some AEDs for the last 2-3 months. We worked with Bennington Rescue. They had a community program where they offered recertified units at a pretty steep discount with some training and all that stuff. And so we worked with them, and we got 2 AED units. There's one up there, and there's one down at the garage. And then the guys down at the garage also have a stop the bleed kit with tourniquet and some other gauze and stuff in case they have issues. We had training. There was a kind of a brief, I think it was like 45-minute rough training, no certifications, but it was a brief training on how to use them. That was last Tuesday. If we want more training, then we could follow up with Arlington Rescue and work with them. Just to close that out, Caroline and Becca have been looking and purchasing little cabinets, wall-mounted cabinets. One would go outside the office in the hallway, and then one down at the garage to protect them from dust and bumping and stuff. And so they were looking at maybe $80 each, and I think that's roughly what I've seen online. I don't think we have any issues with going along with that. And then also, talking with the Bennington Rescue, I thought it'd be good for each truck down at the shop to have a stop the bleed kit. So they have one, and get maybe 3 more, one for each truck, and then you'd have one in the office. And those are about $50 each. So if we're good with that too, I don't think we have to vote on it, but, and that would close out, I think, the rest of the project for AEDs. Yeah.
Mark, do all your trucks have first aid kits?
What's that?
Do all your trucks have first aid kits?
They used to, but most of them went out of date.
Yeah, you need to buy, each truck is supposed to have a first aid kit.
Yeah, they do have,
We got,
A real
that
one.
really don't mean
Not a
much.
box of
Yeah.
Band-Aids, a real one.
yeah,
The 3 dump trucks have first aid kits.
Oh, okay.
It's the excavator and loader.
Excavators and loaders don't need them.
Oh,
The trucks
yeah,
do.
but the 3 trucks.
Okay,
The one ton's got the biggest
okay.
first aid kit.
Yeah, well, that
And
goes
then
out
we have
with
the
it.
big first aid kit
Yeah.
down to the garage.
Okay.
And the
Yeah.
2 dump trucks have got the, you know.
You got a standard size,
plug away
the OSHA
and,
one.
Tissue in it.
yeah. So we're working on
I
getting them.
don't rate that one.
Yeah, we're working on getting everything up to
Yeah,
usable quality and stuff, so,
yeah.
especially for the guys down there, so. But I think it's a start, it's a good start, yeah. Any questions on that? No? The next thing, we kind of briefly touched on it, but the Sunderland Shines community visit, we had that one, what was it, a week ago, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, 23rd.
And they kind of whittled down some of the community ideas into 2, and it was recreation,
Yeah, in general, and then.
In general.
and then, paths, wood,
community,
Space.
yeah,
Trail.
community spaces and events, and then a recreation type one.
trails. Right.
And then, so the next step in the one on the 13th is people had to sign up into what topics they were interested in, and then the theories behind those groups will now split up and kind of form a committee, community-driven task force to start researching things, and then once they have a project, then they can come to the select board and discuss it, and we can see, you know, what happens after that. So I thought it was good. It was really hot, and the next one's August 13th, I think at 6 to 8:30 at the school, and that will be the last one. I have school deed update. The last meeting, I mentioned, we heard some stuff at the first Sunderland Shines that brought up some questions about the school deed, and Marty looked
Yep.
into it.
Yep, there was some question that some resident mentioned that the original deed that gave the property to the school district had a right of rescission built in, and I went and looked at the original deed, and there is no right of rescission. So the transfer of the deed from the individual owner to the school district, and then from the school district to Conic and Green, and then coming back to us, you know, it's all clear. It's all clean. There's not a question of, whether it reverts back to the original deed grantor. It's not there.
Yeah, so we can close that one out on here. But yeah, thanks for looking into that, appreciate it. And Caroline and Becca, I think, helped out and looked into it
Oh,
too,
yeah.
so thanks to them. And then for final old business, I have external audit commenced. So yeah, we signed a document to move forward with Sullivan and Powers Company
Powers.
to get our external audit started. It's been about 7 years since we've had an external audit. We get audited every year with the town's auditors. They've been reaching out with Caroline. She's already been communicating back and forth, getting stuff going with them. And I think they're supposed to be coming down next week to start working with her and going through all of our documents in person. So things seem to be going well. She's been happy with them so far. And I don't have a time frame when everything will be wrapped up, but it's starting now. So I think that's a good thing. Any questions on the audit? Yeah, go ahead.
Martin, the personnel policy, where are we at with that?
Well, I have spoken to, what's her name? Merrill, and she said it was going to be ready for tonight, but it is not. So, and I have, asked her a few times now, and she says she's working on it, but she...
Okay.
Okay.
This is, I guess, we're still on old business.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I did it, but I actually did the municipal ethics training. And it's really, if you guys haven't done it, it's just watching the video for 40 minutes or whatever, so some interesting information there, so. But if they do give you a little certificate that you should share with Caroline, so at least we have it on records that we've done it. Once again, even though our state representatives don't have to do it. We don't.
Okay. All right, moving on to new business. All right, so item number 12, if we're good with that. Thank you, Rick. Is new business. Any new business? No? We have, before we go to executive session, we have a review of correspondence signing of warrants. So Rick's looking through it. I think there was the only thing in there was Southern Vermont Economic Development is having a couple sessions for municipal leaders. There was one today in Wardsboro. I couldn't go, but there's a couple events in the community. I think there was that one that the town sponsored an individual last year or 2 years ago. So if you know anyone that's interested in looking into municipal government, I think there's a program for people out there. All right, if there's no other, anything with review of correspondence, signing warrants, we can move on to executive session.
Cute, if ever I heard one.
So if we're ready, we can get a motion to move into executive session, and we're going to be discussing town legal items and also discussing the town highway crew applications and potential hiring decisions.
So do we need to invite our ZA and highway foreman to be part of the executive?
I don't know if you have to do it public.
You do have to announce who's going
Do
to
you?
be in the
Okay.
executive session.
Okay, perfect, thank you. So we'd like to invite our zoning administrator, David Kerning, sorry.
Kearden.
Sorry. And then also our highway foreman, Mark Johnston, to stay for our executive session.
Have a motion? We move into executive session.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? No? All in favor of entering executive session, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay, we are going
Does
to,
Caroline stay?
Caroline, I think, you will go in the, if you don't mind waiting in the hallway until we're done. Yeah, I didn't mean to say like you will go, I meant, yeah. Yeah, so we're in executive session at 8:09. Sorry, you already caught me off guard.
Yes.
Yes.
And Bruce will, yeah,
My
Bruce will
mind
walk.
completely descended,
It's okay.
so.